my background's pretty interesting. 20 years in wireless, 13 years at BlackBerry in town here, and then moved over and took a dive into this space, which is a pretty big change. My wife worked in banking for 10 years and then actually was involved in managing nightclubs for about 10 years. So gave her a lot of experience with big teams of people, kind of maintaining a fun vibe. So when provincial licensing opened up to be wide open, so it was no longer in the lottery side of things, we started to look at this pretty seriously. And we looked at lots of different options. You know, there was franchises and so on, but living and working in Kitchener for the last 20 plus years, I've been here since 2000, my wife since early 90s, her and her family. One of our favorite things about Kitchener-Waterloo is the local independent businesses. I've been shopping at Central Fresh, and you'd see Mike there actually in the store and kind of get to know each other. You give the owner the little nod because he recognizes you, even if you never really speak that much. And so just love that. And so like Euro Foods, Italo Foods, Nougat, all these local independents really sort of inspired me and were the inspiration for what we did here. Because what I saw a lot of was all these new companies saying, we're going to be the next national chain of cannabis retail stores. And I thought, who wants to be a national chain? I'd much rather just be, one awesome store and really sort of build it up to be a pillar within the community. We're a big believer of normalization and the destigmatization of cannabis. And so by being, part of the community, we see that as a real key to that aspect of it. It's been a fantastic response. We opened in the midst of a lockdown. So it was January 2021. We had to build a makeshift sort of door to put in our door to serve people at the front door, which made it pretty challenging. People couldn't even see the inside of our beautiful store at first. But the response from the community was great. I mean, a lot of people just loved that we were actual members of the community, not some sort of big faceless chain or, it's sort of funny. You hear all these brands and they sort of feel very contrived. And I didn't mention it, but a lot of my time at BlackBerry, I was working in marketing and I sort of developed an allergy to contrived branding. Like, it's just all made up and not authentic. So that's why we sort of decided to name it what we did. We thought first of all, I'm a dad, so I love dad jokes. It's like, and then we realized that our street was Highland. Thought, oh man, this is just meant to be. So I'd like to refer to it not even as a brand. It's more like it's a place, and it's our place is our name and our name is our place. So we're just like a big family here. It's a major concern for a lot of people. There's already over 50 stores open in the Kitchener-Waterloo and Cambridge region, which seems like a lot. I can understand a lot of the concerns about it, but I think the marketplace has to come to sort of a reckoning. What definitely happened at the beginning is a lot of people heard about the stories from the first 25 and then the first 75 lottery winners. When you only had that many stores, you're going to hear crazy things about giant numbers and huge, people see dollar signs, they get excited. So everyone rushed in. And, what we saw is at the outset, when we were looking at different locations, we probably looked at 20 or 30 locations. Every single location that we looked at now has a cannabis store in it. So basically they filled up every opening in the market. But I don't think it's sustainable when so many of them are sort of carbon copies of each other. So a lot of people rushed in, they followed a very simple formula. You tend to see a lot of small stores operating in a way to try to keep costs down, but that means they'll have minimal staff. Like it's not uncommon to walk into a store and just see one person working. And so, we sort of, everyone zigs, you zag. So I'm a fan of first principles thinking. So rethink everything from the ground up. And so we just rethought everything. We didn't do anything the way that all the industry experts said to, and we didn't follow that formula. We built out a big store with a huge staff, and everyone thought we were crazy because, oh my God, your expenses are going to be so high. But I said, look, with all these stores, what we need to do is make sure we build our store to deliver a great experience, which to me is just, you want good service. And I just put myself in the shoes of the customer. Like, I hate waiting. I hate walking into a store and then, some people are chatting or, you have to wait 20, 30, 40 minutes for service. It makes me crazy. So we made it our mission to not do that. In the process, we created 25 new jobs in the city. So we have a huge staff, 25 staff. A minimum number of employees working here is 5 or 6 at a time. Peak times will be at 10, 11, or 12, depending on capacity restrictions. And so as a result, we're able to provide that good service. There are over 50 stores currently open. There are still over 20 more stores on the AGCO map. So I get my information on the stores from the AGCO itself. There's a map that's publicly available where you can see all the pins on the map. So all the gray ones, I think there's a little over 20 still to open in the Kitchener-Waterloo.